Hello, Steffi here. It's time to talk real people, real lives. Today's episode is a story about a woman very determined. She worked in education as a teacher, principal, all the way to Parliament. But on her way, she experienced breast cancer. Please welcome our guest today, Jen. Thank you so much for coming, and I know you're really busy at the moment, especially with the elections.
Absolutely.
You're working for, but we just had a chat beforehand and you told me that you had experience with cancer early on already. So what happened?
Yeah, thanks Steffi, and thanks for the invite to be part of what you're doing here. But
thank you.
Cancer's been a big part of my life, actually my entire life. I didn't actually tell you this part. First of all, I actually had two siblings who suffered cancer in their lives as well. So my sister was in her early 30s when she had to have a hysterectomy because she had a really fast growing cervical cancer, and thankfully she'd had her family at that stage, but it was a pretty traumatic episode in her life, and such a young age.
Yeah.
And my brother was actually in his late 20s when he had testicular cancer. So it had been a big part of our family, and that wasn't going to be the end of it, unfortunately. When I was in my mid-20s, maybe early to mid-20s, my mother, who was 61 at the time, was diagnosed with a very, very rare form of skin cancer. It's called mycosis fungoides, and it is incredibly rare. It's terminal, and she was supposed to have 20 years to live, and it wasn't supposed to impact upon her too badly until near the end. But unfortunately, it didn't quite play out like that for Mum, and she had an incredibly fast track towards the end from diagnosis. Over that time too, unfortunately, my father died of a heart attack, which I think probably exacerbated the quick road towards her death, her eventual death, and it was awful. She lost all her skin, she swelled to unrecognisable, her hair, everything.
How old was she?
61. And
61 is not an age.
No, it's not. It's not old. You know, I look at it now and I think I want to be beyond that. So, you know, I want to do what I can to live beyond that. And then I thought, you know, cancer's been, it's been part of who we are. I didn't think any more of it until when I was a young mum. I had an 18-month-old and I had a 12-hour-old. So my youngest was 12 hours. When my husband was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but it turns out that they had that diagnosis wrong, so he actually had Hodgkin's at that point, so that they sort of went back and retested. So they originally treated him, and it did take to start with, but it came back, and they had said that the likelihood was that it wouldn't come back. So over the next 4 years he had a couple more sets of treatments, and then they basically said to him, look, we can keep treating this, but we think that it will keep coming back, and we're not too certain because this is new therapy for this sort of cancer, but we will look at doing a stem cell transplant with you if that's what you want and you decide. It does mean that if it does come back again, and we don't know, we're pretty certain it won't, but if it does come back again, we won't be able to do anything about that at that point. But this is a terminal without it anyway. So we talked about it and we decided to go with the stem cell transplant.
Yeah.
My oldest was 4 at that time, and so my youngest was 3. We shifted house because I was working as a school principal, and we'd shifted house in Southland. We'd gone from a place called Drummond to a little place called Gorge Road, and he had to go to Christchurch to have the stem cell transplant, and that was over 6 months. And I was in this new job, new community with these 2 young children on my own, and it was quite a traumatic time. But you know what? He had his stem cell treatment, his transplant, on the 22nd of November in now I'm going to have to work this out, 1999. That's it, the 22nd of November 1999. And that's a really significant date for us, which surprises some people, because he's been successful, he's still with us, he's still healthy, and that's great. But it wasn't the end of our cancer journey. And that was when, in 2019, 20 years later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So about October in 2019, I had that diagnosis. I never had a lump, so I didn't have any lumps. I couldn't feel a lump. There wasn't actually a lump there. It was throughout the duct. It was calcified and little tiny lumps that you would never ever feel.
So you did your tests all the time by yourself?
Yes,
so
I did my tests, did the self-examinations, all of that, and there was no lump. So it was my regular mammogram that actually picked it up. And I tell people all the time this now, because I think it's a really important story of why we go and have our checks and our tests. It's not something that you do just because it's there to do. You do it because it's got the chance of keeping you well. So I was diagnosed with this breast cancer, and on the 22nd of November, exactly 20 years to the day that my husband had his stem cell transplant, I had a mastectomy. So I had the mastectomy and reconstruction. It was a long operation that I went through, and a very long recovery that I went through. But I was really fortunate, and I was fortunate because I didn't have to have any further chemotherapy or radiotherapy, because they took the nodes out and the cancer hadn't spread to the nodes. And I also think I'm quite lucky in some respects now, because I actually get checked up on. So I'm getting people looking at me all the time. I'm feeling great. They said to me at the time that it will take up to a year to recover, because it is such a big operation from the operation. I still have little things that I have to cope with on a daily basis. It's not the same, but I've got an amazing life, and I'm living each day as it comes, and I'm making the most of each day, because I've had this opportunity now to reevaluate and to do that, and I don't stress about the small things. So some of the changes that I've made up in my life since then is that I thought I'm not going to stress. I'm in a highly stressful job. Being an MP is highly stressful, and I thought I can't let that stress get to me. I was a school principal. I know how much stress can get to you, because I used to wake in the middle of the night worrying about things. So I actually phoned up a friend who is a mindfulness tutor, and I said, could you take me through some lessons in mindfulness?
Awesome.
So I did that, and now I practice mindfulness every single day, and it's made an amazing difference in my life. I'm also really careful about things that I eat, making certain that I'm not eating those foods that are going to impact upon my health. Still have them as treats occasionally.
Come on,
but
we need
treats occasionally.
That's right.
But it used to be a big focus. It used to be a sugar hit for me, and I don't have that. Made changes like things like alcohol. I haven't drunk a drop of alcohol since I was diagnosed with cancer, and I wasn't a big drinker, but I'm actually feeling so much better.
There's nothing missing, you can replace it with something else.
So I might have a kombucha or something like that.
This popped in my head.
So I will look at those sorts of things and make those changes in my life, and I have done, and I exercise when I can. At the moment, because we've been campaigning in the election period, I have to say, and I will admit that the first thing that's gone is the exercise a little bit, but I try and get out as much as I can, and I will get back into it. So what I do is I go for a walk most days. I'm not like you, Steffi. I'm not a runner, and I never was in reality, but I like going for a walk. We've got a perfect environment here in Tauranga.
It's paradise.
So I get down to the waterfront and I walk on the waterfront most mornings when I can, but I also, when I can, I'll get to a pool that I can not swim in, but I aquajog. I like aquajogging.
This is awesome exercise. As long as you move, as long as you do
something that you're doing.
And now with the daylight saving, that is no excuse.
No excuse, apart from election campaign.
Okay, good. But even half an hour in the morning, as long as you do something, you feel good about it. And you feel good about yourself. It recharges your batteries.
And it does, and it makes me better at what I'm able to do. It makes me a stronger advocate for people, because that's what I like doing. That's why I'm doing this job. That's why I was a school principal, because I like being able to serve and I like being able to help. I didn't realise that I wasn't actually being the best I could be at that job until after I had had my cancer and after I'd had my operation. Thankfully, I've been given a second chance, and I'm going to make the most of that second chance, and I make the most every single day. So I'm enjoying life and making the most of it. I also ensure that I have time for the people who are important to me, my family, and putting them first.
It is important.
It's really important.
You only have one family.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
But when you just arrived before, I said, oh my God, you look so good. And all the photos, it is sad what happened to you, but you look amazing. And sometimes, I know it's sad, but we need a wake-up call to readjust and say, you know what? There is life out there. Not just, like you said before, stressing out about little things. It's not worth it.
No.
Definitely not.
No, and I'm certain actually that bringing that stress to what I was doing and living with that stress actually didn't help with my diagnosis. I don't think it was the sole cause, but I don't think it helped with what had happened in my life. And I probably wasn't coping as well as I thought I was coping. No, I thought I was. The
universe actually said, hey, Jen, hey, handbrake, time for change here. Slow down. I think lots of people, they are running around like chicken out there. They need a little bit of handbrake, but not a cancer, but something. So, hey, stop and actually live in the moment and take a deep breath and enjoy the moment. This is what we don't do anymore. That's exactly right. And we can't be that amazing person to others unless we're that same person to ourselves first. And I've learnt that over this time, that I have to look after me and put my welfare first, and then I can be that person to other people. Yes, then you can look after other people. And in your role, at the moment with the election, because people can see, oh my goodness, she looks good. She is full of energy. She knows what she's doing. She is determined to make a change. And this is why we're doing those videos, to make a change, to make a difference. And this is what you're doing. And you're now unstoppable. I know that this is a difficult job that I have, and I can't be the magic wand waver for everybody, but I feel I can be a better support to people than what I was before. I will also say this, is that I think a lot of us suffer from imposter syndrome. We think that we're going to get found out for the fact that we're not as good because we don't believe in ourselves. And we think that people are going to find that out. I think since my cancer journey that I've learnt to let go of that. I was the world's worst sufferer of imposter syndrome. As a principal, I can remember I used to sit at my desk some days and I would think, someone's going to find out soon that I don't know what I'm doing. I actually did know what I was doing, but I had the negative self-talk. I had this negative self-talk all the time, and I think that from there, making the changes from having cancer, making the changes in my life that I've made, and actually practicing things like mindfulness, getting out and exercising, actually starting to believe in myself and being grateful for every single moment of every single day, has actually started to weaken that imposter that lived inside of me. And I think that I don't have those same beliefs anymore. I think I can do these things and I'm good at what I do, and I believe in that. So I'm not going to listen to that internal dialogue anymore. That was that negative little voice. It's just deleting it and letting it go. So I really feel that while I wouldn't want to live through that again, I wouldn't, and hey, we don't know what's in our future, but I wouldn't wish for that to happen again. I also don't regret the fact that I've gone through that journey either, because it has changed my whole approach to life, and it's changed my approach to what I do, and it's made me a better person. And does it also reflect on your relationship? Oh, absolutely. It's in our relationship, my relationship with my husband. He was a fantastic support, by the way. That's nice. During the whole
the whole process, and he's still a fantastic support. You know, everything that I do, he's just right there supporting me the whole way. But I think it makes me appreciate that more.
Even more now?
Yeah, even more now. I mean, I always did appreciate it, but I think even more now, I'm really appreciative of the fact that he is this amazing, wonderful support. And we are a partnership, and you know, I'm just so grateful for the fact that I have that in my life.
Yeah, you should every day. Be thankful the life you've got now. Even you had it good before, but now it improved so much that you enjoy it, and I can tell your eyes, they are just woo, glowing as. But this, when people, you know, with your campaigning, people can see this, and it comes from your heart, and you speak from your own experience. And this is, people can feel it, you build a relationship, that people trust you, and then they will vote for you. Yeah. Easy as. Yeah.
But you know, I don't mind if they don't.
Yeah.
I just love
what they believe.
People, and I love the fact that I can help people.
Yeah.
And I feel very grateful for the fact, through this election campaign, and it never hit me before, but through the election campaign, I have been incredibly grateful for the different people that I meet on a day-to-day basis. I went out door knocking on Saturday, and I had one of our front bench people with us, Andrew Little, who used to be the leader of the Labour Party. And we'd knock on doors, and people would sort of, you know, it's Andrew Little standing right there, which was really quite cool. And we would have some conversations, and people might not say that they voted for us, but I wanted to know about those people anyway, and I wanted to see that they were doing okay, and that they'd been okay during COVID, and that their businesses were fine. And so I would keep the conversation going with them. And as we were walking down the driveway of one who wasn't a supporter of ours, but I had a lovely conversation with him, Andrew said, "Oh, you've got such a lovely way with you." And I think that's the biggest compliment that anyone could have given me, because I don't think of it that way. I think of it as an opportunity, and how grateful I am for the fact that I have that opportunity to have that conversation with that person. You know, that person is very special, and for me, not everyone has the opportunity to have conversations like I do, but I am so thankful for the fact that I could knock on that person's door and have a really good conversation and hear about the traumas that they've been through, but also how they're coming out of it, and think about how can we help as a government so other people don't have to go through those same traumas. And that person opened up to me, and I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And I really mean it. You know, it's not, again, I don't think that was for a vote. That wasn't what I was doing it.
But you build relationships, and this is, and you don't know this person, maybe one day crosses your way again, you know, comes to cross, and then you can have another chat. And this is the same with the videos. People tell us stories, mind-blowing stories, and it's nice having those conversations. And even the conversation, you say, "Oh, this person didn't vote for you guys, but something else will come out of it." Definitely. Something triggered, or you made a difference in something, I guarantee.
And it might have changed their life. You know, and what more can you want? A vote is nothing, actually. It's the change that you make in people's life. And that's what's important. And that's actually, and that's a really good point. When I was first diagnosed with breast cancer, I wondered about going public with my story, because actually Jacinda came to see me on the day that I was diagnosed in my office in Wellington. And she said, "It's up to you. You know, that's your story." And and she was really supportive, by the way, but she said, "It's up to you." And I thought about it and thought, "Oh, maybe I don't." But then when I'd had my mastectomy, I thought, actually, I do need to go public on this, because I might be able to make a difference in someone else's life. Now, it's really interesting, because since then, and very recently, I met a woman who got diagnosed after I had gone public. And she said that that made a big difference to her and how she approached it. So I realised that it was important for me to go public about it, because it was going to help other people. So that's why I talk about it a lot now.
It is important, but this is important to talk about things, you know, because it's cancer. So many people have cancer.
Yes.
9 women are diagnosed with cancer each day in New Zealand. So many, and somebody knows somebody, you know, it is. But if you talk about things, it's the same with mental health. We have to talk about it.
To talk.
Not bottle stuff in. And this is builds a rocket and you're unhappy, and then you do things you actually regret afterwards. Now, I'm so, honestly, when I saw your story, I had goosebumps, and it was really emotional, I have to say, saying this. But you look amazing. You do an amazing job, and it's like your second chance. It's really a second chance, and you are really striving for it to make a difference.
Thank you.
I really have to say, and I love wheat, you know. If you can tell, I love wheat too.
It's my colour of go-to colour.
My colour too. But wheat makes us, you know, more point, and that's how we are. So, Jen, what would you say, or what is your message out of your journey, long journey, you know, starting with your husband, your children, your mum, you know, having cancer by herself? So what would you say? Because there are so many out there, I guess they're going through the similar at the moment.
Absolutely. So first, I've actually got 2 messages, and first off is go and get your checkups. Don't put them off. Don't think that this doesn't happen to you, because it happened to me, it can happen to anyone. And it's really important. If you get things caught early, you have a really good chance of coming through. But my second message is make the most of the life that you have, because you've been given it for a reason. And every day is a blessing, and every day is a gift, and that's what I have vowed to do for the rest of my life, is to live each day to its max.
Awesome. That was a very powerful message, Jen. Whoa, we got it. And I am 100% sure that your story, sharing your story with us today and with our viewers, it will make a difference. And even if you said before, even to one person, job done. This is great. Hey, thank you so much for coming, and I know how busy you are. I wish you all the best with your recovery, because you're still in recovery, and also with your campaign for next week for the election.
Thank you.
All the best. Thank you so much. Woo! Another very inspirational story, and Jen, she is so determined to really live every day to the full, and she's determined to share her story to make sure that you live every day to the fullest as well. 3,300 women are diagnosed with breast cancer in New Zealand each day. 600 plus die each year from breast cancer in New Zealand. And 70% are aged 50 plus. And Jane was just 50, or she just turned 50 when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. I really have to say, like what Jen says, enjoy every day, and live life to the full. And my message as well, get tested. Don't wait. Don't be ashamed if you think there is something not right. Just go. Better now than later. We only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. So healthy living, everyone. Remember, we are on this journey together. Let's start the conversation, share your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel. Enjoy life, stay in the moment, and most of all, be unstoppable. You are worth it, and it's all that matters. It's time to talk. Bye for now. See you soon.